My name is Jim McGillivray and welcome to the Pipe Box, your source for all things piping. If you find this video useful, please give it a like and please subscribe to this YouTube channel to see more videos like this. We're going to go over some music today, and you can print this music out by going back to the description of this video on my YouTube channel. You will see a link to a PDF there. Today I would like to do with you a Piobaireachd movement. It's a fairly common movement and it's a specialized use of the Crunluath movement, which some of you may have learned. It's called the Fosgailte Crunluath and it's played specifically in Fosgailte Crunluath variations in some Piobaireachds. It sounds like this. Now, elsewhere on this channel, I have a video on the dray movement, which is a very significant part of the Fosgailte Crunluath. It looks like this. I also have a video on the standard Crunluath movement, which of course goes like this. You would do well to watch both of those videos before you attack the Fosgailte Crunluath. However, if you have a good solid dray movement and a good solid regular Crunluath movement, you're not going to have much trouble with the Fosgailte Crunluath. Okay, let's start by looking at a sample of a Fosgailte Crunluath and see how it's broken down. In the first bar, you'll see the Fosgailte movement as you would see it in a Piobaireachd. Under the arrow in the first bar is a dray movement, which we will practice in a moment. The arrow marks where the third pulse in the bar falls, and we will talk about this pulse more later on. The thing that makes this movement tricky is not so much the dray movement, it's the rising D grace note shown on the C here right before it. There's also a video on this channel on how to play a rising D grace note, so if these give you trouble, you may wish to look that up. The second bar shows the Fosgailte movement in slow motion, so you can see the exact distribution of the grace notes. It sounds like this. Okay, let's continue with a review of the dray movement. The dray movement consists of an E grace note on low A followed by an F grace note on low A, and it ends on E. It can be played from any bottom hand note. It looks like this. The key is to make sure your E grace note is accurate as you change bottom hand notes from B, C, and D. Fingers hitting the chanter at the same time is paramount. Fingers will also leave the chanter at the same time. That's important as well. Again, you'll see these details in my video on the dray movement. In this exercise, there are 2 beats in each bar, and the first beat comes when the E grace note hits the chanter. Okay, let's hear exercise 1. I'm going to assume from this point forward that you can play a competent dre movement from any bottom hand note. Now, I mentioned one of the difficult things in playing the Fosgailte movement is the rising D grace note on the short note in the middle. It's usually a C, it can be a B as well with a D grace note on it. It's a little bit tricky for some people, and our next exercise will hopefully help you get your fingers around that in the context of the Fosgailte movement. Here you can see how the bars are counted. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, let's hear exercise 2. If you found that exercise easy, you can lengthen the dotted quarter a bit more so that the short note is just a little bit shorter and a little bit more lifelike. Our third exercise puts the Fosgailte movement together, but it still leaves some space so that we have time to get the dre movement correct technically. The timing is the same as the previous exercise. 2 pulses on the first note, and make sure the E grace note of the dre movement is on the 3rd pulse. Take this exercise as slowly as you need to in order to play it technically well. Okay, here's exercise 3. Our final exercise puts everything together and is meant to be played exactly like a Crunluath Fosgailte variation. It's in 6/8 time, so there are 6 pulses in each bar. Our E grace note falls on the 3rd and on the 6th pulse, like this. Oh, but diddly, oh, but diddly, oh, but diddly. Oh, but diddly. Again, you can play this exercise as slowly as you need to get it correct. I've played it a little bit slowly and a little bit more open on the recording, and feel free to play that until you really perfect the movement. Do not play this piece of technique badly. If you're not playing it well, slow it down till you can play it well. One little word of warning: if this kind of variation is new to you, I'd like you to take great care in reading the notes. Some folks sometimes get the middle note, the short note that we've been talking about. They get the wrong note or they get the wrong grace note. So please be very careful as you are reading the notes for exercise 4. Let's hear exercise 4. So that's pretty much how a Crunluath Fosgailte variation sounds if all the theme notes are on the bottom hand. If the theme notes in your tune are on the top hand, or some of them, you do not play a Fosgailte movement, you play a regular Crunluath. So most Fosgailte variations will have a mix of Fosgailte movements and regular Crunluath movements. You will also be directed sometimes to play a regular Crunluath on low G or low A, but if you watch the music carefully, you will be directed as to where you play the regular Crunluaths. So a normal Crunluath variation might sound like this and probably around this tempo. Something like that. Okay, that's just about it for the Crunluath Fosgailte movement. You'll find a lot more about that movement and all sorts of other Piobaireachd movements in my technical tutor Piobaireachd Fingerwork, which deals specifically with Piobaireachd technique in the same way that rhythmic fingerwork deals with light music technique. The book is available from me or from any Highland supplier. For now, from me, Jim McGillivray at the Pipe Box, good piping.